Have you ever rented any equipment? Like if you bought a piece of equipment and you don't use it every day, have you ever rented it out?
Yeah, for sure. Like, what piece of equipment are you specifically thinking about?
Probably like a skid steer.
How often are you using it right now?
Right now, we probably use it maybe 50% of the time.
In terms of 50% of the time, you mean like 2 or 3 days a week? Or are you talking 50% of the time, like 50% of your projects that are 2 or 3 weeks each, and on half of those jobs you use them?
I'd say when probably for the season, we use it about 50% of the season. So, like early season, we mainly do a lot of mulching and like trimming of shrubs and getting plant material in order. All of our established clients that want mulch, we get them out of the way before we start on like other projects that we need to do, like drainage work or yard installs or what have you, like hardscapes and stuff. That's when we really need the machine. But like early season, we typically don't really have it out very often.
And are you renting it
Normally
right
later in the
now?
season.
Are you renting it right now by like the day, or do you just like basically rent it for like 3 or 4 months straight?
I typically it's normally like close people that I know that I rent it out to. So like if someone needs it for like a couple days, I'll give them a rate and then I'll send it out with them. And I normally deliver it because most people that need to rent a skid steer aren't really set up to haul a skid steer or anything. So like I
Oh,
bring
you're
it out
talking.
to
I
them.
got
And
it. So you're talking. You own the skid steer. You're renting out to other people. I thought you were renting it from a rental company.
oh no, yeah, okay, yeah, I should have specified that,
No,
but
you're fine.
yeah, it
Okay.
would be like equipment that yeah you send out to other people.
Mhm. Yeah, the main thing is just like insuring it correctly, right? Like if you tell an insurance company that you're renting out your equipment, almost all the time they will change your policy when it comes to like covering your assets, or they will say you're uninsurable, and you'll have to actually start technically a different LLC or business for like a equipment rental business. So that would be my biggest apprehension, is the fact that your insurance likely will not cover under your current general liability. And if someone rents it from you, even if they're a friend or whatever, and then they take that skid steer and drive into a car, like technically, you will get drawn into that lawsuit from the insurance company. And so that would be my biggest fear. And honestly, when it comes to like heavy equipment like a skid steer, excavator, etc., they can just do a lot of damage. And so I would just be very careful about liability and making sure that is been disclosed to your insurance company. And I can almost guarantee they either A, will not insure you if you tell them, or B, it'll jack the rates up quite significantly. Or have you already gone through this insurance side of things?
No, I haven't insured it. That's why I've only rented it for people that I know and like people that I can kind of keep
Trust.
tabs on
Yeah.
more closely than like just a random stranger. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that does make a lot of sense, and I've kind of tossed that around, and I know about the insurance stuff. I haven't really gone into depth with it, but I was kind of just curious if you've ever done anything like that.
Yeah, we've been tempted to. I think we originally, way back when we had materials that we would deliver, we also had the option to rent a trailer for people that didn't have a trailer basically, and they needed materials. And we didn't like sell them a lot, but it really came down to the fact that like I found out from my insurance agent that like is like if you disclose that, they would immediately drop you. And I was like, well, then what do we need? It's like, oh, you'd have to start like a separate business. I'm like, can I just say like, oh, I'm also doing a rental company? They're like, no, it's like lawn care is here and landscaping. And then you have like equipment rental, total different businesses. Putting that under one entity is going to cost an arm and a leg to try to insure it as an umbrella policy. So, I would personally, for something especially like equipment, like we're not talking about a trailer, we're talking about something that like could back into a house and crack the foundation. There's just so many things that could be done with like heavy equipment like this. It could go over the ledge. It could malfunction and drop the bucket on somebody. Like it can happen. And so, as dumb as I hate, I hate paying insurance because one of those things you don't actually want to use it. But when it's hundreds of thousands of dollars, or potentially like someone gets really injured, you definitely need to have it. And so I would just go to your insurance broker and be like, hey, if I do this, what's the ramifications? And then if they're like, oh, we won't cover it, then it's just a matter you're taking the risk, by giving out to friends and things like that. But it sounds like you're using it an awful lot. And I would lean on the fact that like you'd probably be fine without doing that, and like increasing your premium might not be worth, constantly renting it out to people.
Yeah, definitely. That makes a lot of sense. I also had one more quick question.
Go for it. Go ahead.
Um, so I just recently got on an app called Jobber. I'm sure you're probably familiar with it,
Hmm.
but we did like a little transition period with all of our clients, and I was wondering, so they have like a due upon receipt, a net 15 or a net 30
Hmm.
when it comes to invoicing. I was wondering like what you guys typically do with invoicing. Do you guys do like a net 15 or do you guys do a net 30?
Yeah, like so some of our locations will do net 15, some of them will do due upon receipt. Just know that if you do upon put as due upon receipt, it means like as soon as they get it, it's going to say overdue on it. And then your automation sequence and how you do follow up in terms of collecting on that invoice needs to be hinging around the fact that like, it's past due when they get it. So what that means is don't have an automation that goes out the day after it's overdue because that is literally the day after they got the invoice and threaten them to go to collections, right? So just make sure it's more important. It doesn't. I'm not really like. I'm indifferent on 15 net 15 and whether it is due upon receipt. I would ideally like to have cards on file for everyone and just charge it that way. But if you are sending them out, we have definitely seen you will collect faster if you do due upon receipt. You will collect faster because when people see overdue, they take immediate action versus if they say, oh, it's due in 15 days or I have 10 days, they'll let it sit or they'll come back to it or they'll wait for the next, like the first reminder, then they will take action. So you will get paid significantly faster when it comes to due upon receipt compared to net 15. But it's really just a matter of your follow-up process, making sure that it is aligning with whatever, invoice payment system that you have.